Hello, it's Kelly Marie here for Simon Says Stamp, and I am so excited to be combining these two fun stamp sets today. We have a little bundle and loads of fun, and when we designed these two sets, we made sure that they would work together. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the washing machine from Loads of Fun with some Memento ink, and then color them in with these toner gray markers. Now, I love the toner gray markers for metal things. I think they really look like metal, and it really gives it that cool kind of stainless steel look. This time I've decided to add shading kind of around the outside edges and keep it light towards the middle, but I've also done shading kind of around the inside part of the washer and then made it light going to the outside. I just love kind of playing with my markers and having fun, and this washing machine is a really cool way to practice shading in lots of different ways. Now that my image is all colored, I can use my coordinating die and some post-it note tape to line it up right with the image, put it through my die cut machine, and get a perfectly cut out cute little washing machine. Now I'm going to take a bunch of the clothes from Little Bundle and stamp it on some perfectly plaid paper. I just love paper piecing this clothes because it really looks like clothes with the pattern on it. I just think it's too adorable, and it's fun to stamp out a ton. So I did these first, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a ton of them right now, and then I'll have a bunch of them for cards to make later on. So next up here, I am stamping some of the bubbles, both in some black ink and in some mermaid ink. And then I'll go ahead and add a little aqua color to the black stamped out images there. And then I can die cut all of these too, and then I'll have a ton of bubbles for all of these cards that I'm going to create later on with that cute little baby clothes. So there you can see those great little die cut bubbles. And now it's time to start working on the card. So I've taken some Let's Polka and the Meadow papers, which work really well with these cute pattern papers from Perfectly Plaid. And I'm going to start using some tape runner to adhere down all of these little pieces. Eventually, I'm going to have this stitch circle frame go around the washing machine. So I'm putting it there to help me decide exactly where to lay down all of my images into this washer. And I just love seeing that baby clothes all piled up in there. Now we are going to be making a shaker with this cute washing machine. So here I have some super thick 5mm white foam and the 2-inch stitch circle frame from Fawn that perfectly coordinates with the Loads of Fun washing machine. Now I'm going to cut out a little piece of the foam and then take some stick-it, and I'm going to apply stick-it to either side of this foam, creating a foam sticker. So you'll see there that I've got my little foam piece. I'm just going to line it up with my stick-it and trim out a piece to go right on both the front and the back of that nice thick foam. Now I like to use the thick foam because I like my pieces to really shake inside, and so when you have that thicker foam, it really helps it shake a bunch in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out that second piece of stick-it. Then I can peel off the liner paper and attach it to my foam piece, just like that. And then I will do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to press down that stick-it really well, turn that piece over, peel off the backing of the other piece, and attach that sticker paper to the other side. And this has created a foam sticker that we can now die cut. So now that this piece of foam is all ready to go, I am going to take my stitch circle frame and line it up right on top of that piece of foam. Then I can run it through my die cut machine just like I would any other die cut, because it'll die cut right through this thick foam. It does it really, really well. So you'll see there now I have a die cut piece, and I can pop that circle frame right off. Now this is just so much easier for me than trying to line up tiny little pieces in a circle. It just creates that foam circle perfectly for you right away. Next up, we have to cut the window for the shaker. So I'm going to take a 2-inch circle here that's the same size as that frame and cut a piece of acetate so that I have a window that's going to go perfectly behind that stitched white circle frame. Now it's time to create the shaker. So I'm going to lay my foam circle right on top of that washing machine. Now I'm going to take my powder tool that I usually use for heat embossing. I'm going to use that to remove any stickiness from the inside of that frame and also on top of that baby clothes, because we adhered those down too. So there's potentially some stickiness hiding in there that all of my little shaker bits could potentially get stuck to. So by just really working that powder tool in there, it's going to make everything move really well. Here I'm adding some fairy dust from Lucy's Little Things, some just nice fine glitter, and then some seed beads too. And I feel like all of these things together kind of look like soap in the washing machine. I just think it looks really, really cool, especially that fine glitter. It really gives that soapy look to it. So now that that's all ready, I can start working on the rest of the shaker window. So I'm going to peel up my liner paper on my foam circle, And then I'm going to add that piece of acetate right on top. And so now we've got a cool window onto the washing machine. Of course, it doesn't look finished. So now I've taken that same stitch circle frame that we cut the foam with and cut a piece of white cardstock to put that right on top and give it this great finished look. And now you can see how wonderful the washer looks. I just love those little pieces moving around inside, and you can still see that cute baby clothes in there too. Now it's time to work on the card base. So I have these great papers from Let's Polka in the Meadow, and I've got the largest stitched 4-bar rectangle that I'm going to use to cut them out. So here's my Dewdrop Line Dance, and now here is the Wild Rose Polka that I'm going to cut with the same exact sized rectangle. Now I've got that piece that's going to become the floor for the washing machine. Now, since this video is all about combining two stamp sets, I thought I would combine sentiments from the two sets too. So we have Loads of Fun from Loads of Fun and On the Way from Little Bundle. So I've stamped those two out, and now I'm going to cut it with one of the sentiment banner dies. So that sentiment's going to be ready to put on my card when it's all done. Now I'm starting to kind of lay out these pieces and see how it looks. My little pink piece there was a little too tall, so I trimmed off a little bit of it. And next, I wanted to add something just a little bit different here. So I've got a stitch scallop border and a piece of black licorice cardstock, and I thought the black would kind of add a little fun spice to typical baby colors. So I'm going to trim off this little scallop piece so that I have just this tiny little fun little fringe. And now I am going to take some of the pop of the black cardstock out a little bit by layering some white ink on top of it. So I'm using a little foam dauber. I'm going to put some white ink on top and then smear it in with my fingers. And it's going to take this black from dark, dark black to more of like a really dark charcoal so that it matches a little bit more with the card. So now I can go ahead and adhere these pieces together. So I've got my two pattern paper pieces. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to each of those little scallops. And then I can line that up right with the edge, and it's really going to give a nice grounding area for the washing machine. Then I can trim off all those little extra pieces hanging off there on the edge. And then I can finally finish up my washing machine because I realized that I hadn't actually colored in the buttons. So I thought it would be fun to color the buttons in to match the top piece of pattern paper. And then I'm going to color the stripe behind them to match the bottom piece of the pattern paper. So kind of bring in that pink and aqua into the washing machine. I'll use some foam tape for that great sentiment, and then some foam on my little shaker washing machine there too. And then I'm going to trim a white piece of cardstock to give a 1/8 inch border all the way around this great little pattern paper scene here. I can create my 5 1/8 by 3 3/4 card base. Make sure I crease that down really well and then add this card front right onto that. And then the best part, shaking it. I just love seeing all of those shaker bits going on there. And I just love combining these two sets together. I think it's so fun. You get extra mileage out of both sets, which is so cool. And I just had so much fun putting this card together. I cannot wait to send it to someone. Now, because we went the baby route, I thought we would take the same idea of combining the stamp sets, but go in a different direction. So here I have used a stitch rectangle to cut a piece of mermaid cardstock, and I stamped and die cut the cute little clothesline from Little Bundle. Now I'm stamping out a bunch of the clothespins in some hippo ink, and now I'm going to stamp out the socks and smiley faces from Loads of Fun. So I'll put smiley faces on all of the socks and then one sad face on the other sock there. I'm just going to do some quick coloring, just adding some warm grays around there just to make the socks look a little worn, a little dirty, just to give them something a little extra special so they're not just plain white. And then I'm going to color the socks in pairs. So there's going to be 2 green socks, 2 blue socks, and then just 1 red sock. Now I can go ahead and die cut all of these images. I just love using the coordinating dies. It just looks so nice when it's all done. And then I can stamp the sentiment from Loads of Fun, which is I would be lost without you, onto my little panel here. I'm going to glue down that clothesline. Then I'm going to add some of these thin foam dots, just a little bit to one end of the sock, and then liquid glue to the top part of the sock. So it kind of looks like the sock is kind of flying off of the clothesline. It really gives it a cool look. And I'm going to adhere those down and then adhere down the little clothespins right on top of them. Now there's going to be 1 clothespin with the missing sock, which goes along with the I would be lost without you part. Now I'm going to take the next size up of the stitched rectangle and die cut some of the paper from Perfectly Plaid, which really coordinates with those blue and green little socks on there. Use some foam tape to line that up on there, and then adhere that whole piece to a card base. And you can see here how cute this card turns out. I just think it's so sweet, and it's so much fun to get two different looks with combining the same two sets. So here we have the baby side of things with this fun shaker card, and then the I Would Be Lost Without You. So two different looks with the same idea of combining two stamp sets. So I would love to see how you guys combine stamp sets, so make sure to share them with us. And thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!